We usually have to call Jordan.
That's not true. I told you to stop saying that.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. Call this meeting to order, start with public comments. We got lots of publics. It's your turn.
Sure,
Yeah.
I can start off. I saw on the agenda today, there was, I guess, various committees and commissions nominations. I've been in the process, raised my hand, submitted a letter of interest to join the Recreation Commission in the beginning of December.
What's your name?
Kevin Isett, 320 Baker Hill Road. And I hate to say that I haven't made too much progress. I have essentially a summary of what I've essentially gone through to get to this point. And I guess my question for the select board is, what is the process for joining a public commission, especially as a volunteer? And, you know, is there bylaws that are available that I can read, which I could not find? I've asked multiple times about the process. I haven't been able to get any information for it.
Dina will fill you in on that.
Well, I've been to 2 rec commission
Generally-
meetings and I've asked, unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah. Haven't been able to.
Generally, the commission or board or committee makes their recommendation to the select board. Then the select board makes a decision. In the meantime, there's been years where we have posted every single open seat to every single committee, commission, and board. There's been years where certain boards, have decided they have one open seat and the person that's there wants to continue, and that's what they've recommended to the board. So that's kind of how we've done it in the past. We can change things if we want, and yes, Kevin has come, and he'll be coming to our next meeting, and we'll be talking with him, the rec commission one.
So you'll come to us when.
And then we would make a recommendation
All right.
to
A
you.
little louder,
That's right.
please.
Oh,
Could
sorry.
you say-
I'm hearing this for the first time
Kevin
too,
is-
yeah. Because you didn't confirm I was on the agenda for the next meeting.
Right before you got up and left, I said, you will be on the next regular meeting
I
agenda.
missed that, yeah.
So yes, he's coming to the next regular meeting.
Thank you.
The commission will talk with him, and then our recommendation will go to the board.
Anybody else with questions? Yes, Michael.
I think the phone book is a source of information that includes street addresses, and I hope that somehow we can include them in our next version.
If people put them for this version, which they very well might, some people just list that anyways, it'll be put in.
Could I post on the listserv that information, urging people who
Not
want?
my place to give you permission, but there are people who do not want that.
Oh, I understand
You know,
that.
they think their phone number and their mailing address is sufficient. So, but again, if
Okay.
somebody puts down their physical address, it will be put in there.
Thank you.
Make sure you get the right list, sir.
Sir?
Make sure you get the right list, sir.
Yeah, I heard there's a new one out there now.
Starts on April 1st, I was told.
Tomorrow.
Who oversees and responsible for who has traditionally generated the phone book?
It was traditionally coming from the town clerk's office, but now it's coming from the select board and the town clerk's office.
Okay. And so to the first public comment, the question do we have a townwide policy on how one joins a board, committee, or commission?
I would need to look. And everything is different because commissions are different than committees, and they operate under RSAs that tell you how many people you can have and, certain things.
And I guess
So
my general
I'll
question.
look.
Yeah, that seems like something that should be
Yeah, I'll
very
look.
much publicly available on a website.
Absolutely.
I just have a general question too, like, if you do join the rec commission, how long is the tenure? Can you repeat the tenure?
It's 3 years.
Chair, how long is that tenure? How long can you be the chair? I mean, if I
You
get to
can
be
be the
chair
chair as long as
in
the
perpetuity, or,
other members vote you to be the chair.
and is that recorded in minutes when that voting occurred?
Should be.
It's not published, I just, yeah.
It's all done in public.
I think if anybody wants to be the chair, whomever is the chair right now.
I'm just curious,
would
if
jump at
membership or chair? Yeah.
Jump at the, you
Yeah.
take it.
It's just a
run with
muddy
it.
process, and
Muddy.
4 months in, and I just, you know,
And it's-
I'm not like any wiser, yeah.
So 4 months in. That's, wow, okay. So, yeah, I think trying to make sure that our website and that process on how people do things and how they can join things and how a broader number of people can participate
Right,
is good. I think also this thing that we signed, we ratified at town meeting, and like, cause for me, like a couple of questions and comments that have come up in the last 2 weeks, discussions of, you know, public interest, conflict of interest, and other things should be defined, because I think it should be readily available in like, on the website. So we just know there's a uniform, this is,
I'd be rather, to know conflict.
The
the
new
documents, well, I'm not sure Jordan's put it on there yet, but yes, it
Yeah,
will
that's
go on
just-
there. I mean, yeah. And I wanna note, in the town report, it does list every single committee, commission, and how many years each term is, and when the person's up and when they're not.
yeah, I just
so
do think,
that
with that
info
process of when somebody's
is
coming,
there.
or makes, you know, into town, or they're making a
Yeah.
decision to try and participate and assist, I think
Correct.
that should be, if we can get people to volunteer for something, we should,
We do not like to turn any volunteers away, I
Good.
would say.
okay.
Any further questions from the public? Pretty quiet public today.
Well, I'm just here to hear what other people have to say, so.
Well, you're outnumbered, usually it's just you and Phil.
I'm just hiding back here.
I was just gonna say, it fills in the back, there's so many people, wow,
All
excellent.
right, on to the next. Jen Boylston, 10:15, I guess it's all right with.
Absolutely.
Now?
I'm here. Should I stay here or,
You can-
Very comfortable.
all right. So I didn't prepare anything to say. I think probably I'm here, interested to hear what you think and maybe start a conversation. So, I've been on the budget committee now for, this will be my 10th year. So the first year, it was 2017, I moved here, I bought my house at 144 Goose Pond Road in 2016. 2017, there was an open seat that nobody put their name in for, and so as I sat at Little Town Meeting, I thought, well, I'm a little confused about what everybody's arguing about with finances and money and the school in particular and all this stuff. And so I said, oh, maybe this would be a good way to learn. So that was my first year, and then I ran for 3 years. Then spent 3 years as the school board rep to the budget committee. And then this year will be my third of a 3-year term. Right? So this will be my 10th year on the budget committee. And every year, I'm sure a lot of towns in New Hampshire go through this, where every year, obviously the budget's gonna go up, right? Because that's how things work. Inflation goes up, the dollars that you need to raise are gonna go up. I don't know how everybody feels about not necessarily the rate of taxation, because I think the rate is a complicated factor that is tied to an equalization ratio, and our equalization ratio right now is incredibly low, lower than I think it's historically ever been. I have a concern about that. And then tied to that now is a relatively high rate of, I think, about $28 per thousand. So I'm a single income house. I have one daughter, she's 12, she goes to the Lyme school, my dog and my cat. And I paid somewhere around $17,500 last year for my house, which is assessed at about $600, that I bought in 2016 for $535. When I bought my house, my taxes were about $11,000. So that for me, and I'm just an N of one, and I think I'm a unique sort of circumstance, and that is I'm a single income household and I'm a single mom. I have a good job, I can afford it, right? I'm still in that zone of somewhat New Hampshire, I mean, I'm moving out of the New Hampshire Advantage zone, right? Where that rate of taxation is looking like not the highest rate of taxation in the state. You know, I'm not in New Jersey yet, right? But relative to my income, I am paying like a relatively high amount. At the same time, I can do the math and say, I'm not paying capital gains, I'm not paying sales tax, I'm not paying income tax, and, you know, the Trump administration taketh away and giveth back, so I have a full salt now, right? So I can write that off completely, you know, so that's worth, you know, some number of thousands of dollars of income that I don't now tax it, I'm not paying federal government. So I'm not like freaking out, right? But I wanna know, like, if you as the select board perceive the increase in taxation and the general, not necessarily rate, but the sum total, right, that people are paying per household as a problem, something that is in need of a solution, or it's just the way it is.
Well, I don't, if there was an easy fix, certainly we would try for it, but, comes back to death and taxes. I mean, personally, we pay a ton of money in taxes, and I think everybody at this table does as well, anybody living in Lyme. The school, without question, goes up faster than the town. The town, we pinch our pennies pretty tight, and we're the smaller part of the expenditures. So I went to the school board annual meeting this year, and I went to Lyme School, and the principal taught, was a teacher at that time, and there was only the number of teachers there were for grades. And now there seems to be a whole level of people above administrative places, and I can't comprehend the need for all of them. But again, it's a pretty strong lobby that runs the school, and that last $1 billion bond vote, I mean, telephone lobbied and got everybody in there to make sure they got there. That was a big chunk of change on people's taxation.
Yep.
And you can't undo it, unfortunately. I wish we could, and if you could think of a way, let's do it.
I mean, I don't know that there's certainly no easy solution, but what I don't see is anyone making a plan, right? And I've been here for 10 years. We had the Lyme LCDC, LDCD, I can't quite remember. It must have been the Lyme Development LCDC, right? And, and I think that they were generally minded to say, maybe we should build a little bit more and relieve the taxes that each individual household has to pay by having more property. I mean, do I think that's a real solution to the tax problem? I'm not so sure. I do think that we are a town that's situated in a region that desperately needs housing, and do we now, at least ideologically or philosophically, have a role to play as we're benefiting from being in this greater region. Lyme benefits greatly from the fact that Dartmouth College and Dartmouth Hitchcock, and I worked for a biotech company that grew out of there. That was nothing in 2007, but is today valued at, I think, $7 or $8 billion, right? That's a huge boon in ways to our economy, and that impacts Lyme somewhat, although I will say there's only one person I work with that lives in Lyme. But they go to Stella's, and maybe, and then, does that impact, does that really impact Lyme per se? I don't know, but, they go to the skiway, they do stuff, so, yeah, but there just doesn't seem to be a plan, and I guess the lack of any plan, and I get that it's hard, and I'm with you on.
The planning board has a master plan,
But their master plan seems to be, let's try to not, like, all right, I'll go back to, is it Brett Ryan who built the condominiums on the Common? Which I have no fundamental problem.
Ray Clark.
Ray Clark.
Ray Clark,
Ray Clark.
okay, I'm mixing Brett, that was a merge of Brett
Yeah.
Ryan and Ray Clark. Two people I've never met, but I know that they do a lot of like construction and they've been in Lyme for a long time. But like that in particular, I sort of watched that for years, right? That whole conversation go about the master plan and housing, and at the time, John Stadler, right, was chair of the planning board, and he would say, but we're working on the housing chapter. But they'd been working on it for 5 years. And he would say, but it's so hard to work on the housing plan, and I'm not arguing that it's hard, but it's something that needs to be done.
What would you suggest in terms of housing that would benefit the town?
Well, I mean, I supported Pat Pippin and Lynn's petitioned amendment. I voted in favor of that in spite of the, maybe there's some like language that needs to be tidied up. I think fundamentally, that concept is a good concept. Is that concept going to impact the tax rate in Lyme? I don't know that it's gonna solve taxation in Lyme, but I think it solves a problem perceived by some people who wanna downsize from their big houses, but not at the age of 70 or 80, move to some new town where they don't know anyone. That makes total sense to me.
But I was on the planning board for a lot of years, and the difficulty with workforce housing or low-income housing is that, how do you keep it that way? How do you keep the next buyer, who's a professional coming in there, from upgrading that house? And
there are ways to do it, and I would point to Dial Hill in Hanover. Like, there are ways to do it where, I don't know how it works, but there are legal ways where you have a certain number of units, like Dial Hill, for example. A certain number of those units are restricted for sale to people whose income qualifies. They buy in the unit as condominium, and they own it for however long they own it. When they sell it, they're restricted at what, I don't know how it's figured out. They certainly can get equity out of the home, and the home can be sold at a higher price than, what they bought it for,
the
but
next
there's a
question is,
restriction.
we have a problem in town because our school is a magnet of families moving in. Back when I lived on the common, the neighbor moved in with 8 kids, put them through school and left.
Yeah, and you're gonna see that more and more. I see that with my own peers.
really tricky
It's
too,
probably
because-
gonna happen with me. And
Yeah.
I never planned on when I moved here, I thought, this is great, I like it. But I don't
think
see,
a
I don't see
couple with
staying here.
2 kids has to live in their house for 37 years or something like that to pay off the costs of putting those kids through school.
Well, I'm on the planning board now, and so we're wrestling with this, and we're wrestling with, what should the zoning be? Should we relax some of the restrictions on development? Should we, there's a, I think there's a, I don't wanna speak for the board, but I think there's a desire to address some of the concerns that the Pippin warrant article was
Mhm.
seeking to address. But it's actually kind of a tricky question, because if you relax the zoning restrictions and allow more development, the Lyme School is close to being at the edge of what it can support in terms of number of students. And so if you open up development and you have a bunch more families with kids move in, then all of a sudden, there's gonna be another demand for money to expand the school. And so it could make things worse rather than better. It's not clear that just relaxing the zoning restrictions solves a tax problem.
I agree with that, but it's also, like, you can't predict everything that's going to happen in the future. And the first thing that I think when people say, oh, we'll have to expand the school is, and this comes from a parent of a 6th grader, like, we could take 6 through 8 and put, we could run the numbers, but as I heard it from the previous superintendent, not the current superintendent, if we tuitioned our kids to Richmond, 6 through 8, we would spend less money,
Well,
given the numbers that exist today.
I mean, you have probably heard me at the
Right.
school board meeting, and so, my view on this is sort of out there, public. 2/3 of the town budget is the school.
That's true
And it's
everywhere.
growing,
Yeah.
and, while the municipality, on the municipal side, we've more or less held to the rate of inflation plus or minus a % or so over the last 10 years. The school, over the last 10 or 11 years, has doubled the rate of inflation and basically doubled their budget. on the select board, we don't, I mean, a plan, there's really nothing that we can do about that. That's the school board and the school board meeting. People have to, and people have to show up and vote on that stuff. And I mean, my own personal concern is that what happens is you get very different groups of people showing up to these meetings and to town meeting than you get showing up to the school board meeting. When I go to the school board meeting, I see, you know, people with school-age kids on their phones telephoning other people with school-age kids to come, and so you get I think, or I fear that you get sort of you know, a different perspective on this question.
Bill, I have a comment.
Yeah, I just want to say that there's data about this that keeps getting ignored. And the myth that we're going to overwhelm the school is this giant myth where statewide studies show that each house produces about 1/3 of a child. We are not, I distributed that data to the select board. It's based on a study done by an outside consultant, deeply scientific. That's the data. We're not gonna overwhelm the school if we put another 10 houses in town.
Right, but at the same time, another 10 houses probably isn't,
Gonna move
it's
the
not gonna
tax
really
rate.
move, it's not gonna really move the
I was
needle
trying not to scare
on,
anybody.
yeah, on like, on taxation either, though there is a question of should we be building like these houses because people need places to live, right? You
There's
know,
other-
it's,
There's certainly other issues, but like, you're asking what's the plan?
right,
I mean, if you can come up with a plan, I'd like to hear it. I don't know what, I mean, certainly on the select board, I don't know that there's a lot that we can do about the school budget going up the way it has been over the last decade.
well, I mean, one thing that could be done is the select board going to the school administration and just having a rational conversation. The school administration, for example, does not live in Lyme. I don't think they may not even know what the tax rate is or what the impact. They were surprised when I told them I went and said, if we increase by this many dollars, this is the impact on a house assessed at $500,000. And they were like, wow, that's kind of a lot. Because it was almost $1,000. What, not the actual increase. This was when they were talking about a higher increase. So just to be clear on that, you know. And I would say, and I didn't point this out at district meeting, John, our principal, is on the Lebanon School Board. He, this year, my friend Kevin Schutz is also on the Lebanon School Board, so I get some I get some inside information. And he basically asked the administration this year as a school board member, keep in mind, our school board never seems to do this. As a school board member said, you guys, Lebanon administration, are asking, at that point, I think they had presented a 7.5% increase. This is too much, the rate of inflation, CPI,
You did
what
say
people,
this.
what people, I think I said at a budget, it was at a budget committee,
Oh,
it wasn't a
budget, yeah.
it wasn't a district meeting, because I always have so much to say, and then I don't wanna be the only person standing up saying everything, so I try to pick like, okay, let me think of the 2 things that are most important points for me to make, but I have like 10 more, always.
Yep.
You know, and basically he said, the people in Lebanon, we're paying all these taxes, we can't afford it, just come to us and tell us what a 5% increase, 4% increase, 3% increase looks like. Very similar to what we did in Lyme. When I was on the school board and we had an interim superintendent and I asked as a school board member for them to do that, the top of the list was, we won't hire a 4th grade teacher. The second thing on the list was, math, differentiation in math, and we're gonna have to fire that person. It was, it was like,
There's
it
administrative
was like a
people-
ransom
There's
list.
administrative people that don't teach at all that are in that budget.
Well, yeah, of course, but
They could go.
But-
Well, they could go, but then that would create a lot of work for the other administrators, right?
Well, Jen, to your point,
And if people are going to support the budget, then they're not gonna then it's not gonna go, right?
That's exactly it, and you heard that at the school district meeting where there was sort of a veiled menace that, you know, well, if you make us
Right.
go too low, we'll just go to the town and they'll allow us to increase it. And you heard that
Yes.
at the meeting where people were saying, well, what did you have to cut? And,
Yes.
you know, I think if not for Lee Larson sort of proposing a reduction, we would have had some people standing up and proposing an increase, maybe.
Yeah, and the way that they even answered, what did you cut, was inaccurate and misleading. They did not cut an education assistant. There were no people cut to get us to 4.5%. The only way we got to 4.5% was they're taking money from trusts. They didn't decrease. And this is gonna get me, Judy Brotman stood up at town meeting and said the school made real efforts to reduce the operating budget. They made no effort, a little bit. They took $10,000 or $20,000 out of money that they contribute to field trips, so that parents don't have to pay for the field trips, which also gives the school an added benefit where they don't now have to deal with the relatively small proportion, but there is a proportion of kids who would not be able to go on the field trip because their parents, their families can't afford it.
Right.
Jeff Balance always raised money. He had the principal's fund. He reached out to the community. That fund, as far as I know, no longer exists, and there's nobody in the school that seems to have a desire to do that type of outreach, to raise those funds. There's still the PTO.
There's still a principal fund.
Well, then that's just probably money that's
Yeah.
left from what, to give Jeff
As
his
far as
credit.
I
fundraising,
mean,
correct.
Right, that was Jeff's
Yes.
fundraising.
As a select board member, I'm happy to have the school board come in, or school people, whoever it is, administrators
Right.
come and talk to us about this, but we don't have any leverage. The budget committee has a little
Budget
bit of
committee.
leverage.
Let's-
Well, you know, we
Yes.
could stamp our feet and pound on the desk and say, you know, you're pushing taxes too high, and, you know, we're gonna say something on the listserv, or I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
what leverage we could have, but,
I do think, David, that the reality, the key thing is people keep asking for the select board to talk to the school board and other stuff. We are basically equal
Yes.
elected boards. And to talk or comment about school board budget, school board talking about the municipal budget, is, you read in the state, I mean, it's not illegal, but it's frowned upon for co-equal elected groups to talk and go to their meeting and make comments about it. You're not supposed to stay in your lane. The lane, the people that can shift the lanes is the budget committee. For us as a board to be able to request to say, hey, we want to have a special joint meeting of the budget committee with the select board and the school board members present, to say, hey, we're getting more and more pushback. People have been seeing the requests for tax abatements for inability to pay, which is very real. And,
I noticed
Uh,
that in the
number of
town, in the
things.
town report, like,
We're gonna have to wrap this up.
oh, we
Yeah.
got it.
At 10:30, we got Tim Cook coming in.
But,
Oh, he's here.
but to your point, Jen,
Yeah.
I do think for groups of different types of housing and stuff, there have been very early efforts to do something like that. There was a group, they created something called Lyme, Hill and Valley. And we had the decision, I think court decision saying we had to have a commercial district. So, they were in a position of authority in the town, and they created that Lyme commercial district, and that went to town meeting and was ratified about 3 months after they purchased every piece of land that would be commercially available.
okay,
So, I mean,
Right.
yeah, so what's affordable housing when it's not on the market? And that's it's a struggle, but for us to be able to do something and ask for more, it's the select board, we can bring that concern to the planning board. I think the planning board's pretty well heard it, that we need to do something different. But when we look at the changing of a house and a property, well, you know, can this be something for multi-family dwellings for an elder? But you can't spot zone. And there's so many constraints on us to make any kind of change. And also, but it's not a select board, it's the planning board. But my thing is, David hears it, and he's gonna be, Ben talked about it when he was on the planning board. I mean, that's just the common message of what we're hearing from people and clear messaging from town meeting.
All right, we gotta wrap this
Yeah,
up.
we're there.
yeah, all right,
There you go.
man, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is
I mean, the
Ongoing.
other thing I'll say, just to put it out there, I mean, I have been now looking, I would like to build a house, and there's just, it's not even that I can't afford to build a house in Lyme, there's no way. Not only, like, do I not know what the long-term trajectory of the cost of living in a house that I build would be, I've talked to contractors who are like, no, thank you anyway, I don't wanna build anything in Lyme. It's too complicated, the zoning is complicated, people will say one thing one day, and then the next day, like the next, the story changes, no one's really sure. And I think that's partly generated from, I know we have David Robbins, but it's like a group of ever-changing volunteers, right, who are running all of these boards. I think that's part of what's contributing, like, to that. So I also find some frustration with everybody's, like, unrelenting interest in what their neighbors are doing, right? That's ideological, but so is Springfield, and so is Grafton, right? And you don't necessarily have those problems, but in terms of looking, at houses, I've seen now, I've run into 5 people who work at Dartmouth Hitchcock who are also looking for places to live and won't even come here to look at a house.
Oh, that's fine.
So, I don't know, but it
Tim,
seems like a problem.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
you entirely in Orford now, or are you in Lyme?
So anyway, I'm here because I have a situation I think you can help me with. In 2023, Brendan, who's our tax assessor in Lyme and Orford,
He's here.
He is here, and I'm letting them know. I was assuming Jordan would have sent him
he
down.
put on my tax card in Lyme a building that I own in Orford.
Tim, can you speak up? Some of us are pretty deaf.
So he put in Lyme on my tax card a building that I own in Orford, garage. So I've been paying taxes on the same building in both towns. So, and there's no dispute that the building's in Orford, because I've been paying taxes on it for 37 years in Orford. And I guess Brendan and I talked about it, and we said, you made a mistake, you didn't pay attention, and you put it in Lyme. So, there's 2 RSAs that pertain to this. RSA 8057 says if any person tenders a payment for any taxes and or interest in excess of the taxes levied and interest incident thereto, the collector of taxes shall direct to the select board to issue an order upon the town treasurer to refund the person making such payment the excess sum so paid. So what that means is, it says at the bottom, if a taxpayer pays more tax than was legally owed, including taxes that should not have been assessed, the municipality must refund the excess. And then, I think pertaining to that RSA also, if a town taxes property outside its boundaries, the tax may be considered void or illegal, not merely excessive. And RSA 7616 says that the tax is arguably ultra vires, is that how you pronounce that? Which is beyond municipal authority, so I think it means that the town doesn't have any legal claim to that money.
So can we pull it down to the issue and what you've got?
Well, I just was hoping you guys would agree with me and I can go ahead and get a refund.
How much money is it and for what years?
Well, that's a question. He put it on, Brendan put it on starting in 2023. So I figured it out, I mean, I think Marcy can figure it, but I figured it out. If it's 2023, 2024, 25, it's $2,098.94. If it's 2024 and 2025, it's $1,442.37. So, yeah, and I don't think I really, because I'm not asking for an abatement, I'm asking for a refund.
Tim, before any actions, motions, were you taxed on, this is like the Raddy's Tack building? Were you taxed also by the town of Orford?
Yeah, so I paid taxes in both towns for this.
Okay.
Shame on you.
Yeah, well, you don't normally check to see if you're in the wrong town, you're being taxed in the wrong town.
Dina, is there any legal limit to our ability to?
Well, I was gonna say, I invited Brendan because he's here, to talk about the whole process. Because there is a process that you need to go through.
Yeah, so first off, Tim did file an abatement. you know, he and I had talked one day in Orford. He had said he had been taxed on both. Jordan had shown me the abatement, and he had filed it with, you know, Orford's information. So I asked him, when I saw him that day, hey, if you want an abatement and you want a refund on your taxes, you're gonna need to refile, you know, your abatement in Lyme, and we'll do an interior to exterior inspection of the property. I see that there is a building on your tax card in Orford and in Lyme that are the same dimensions. However, until we go out and do the inspection, we don't know for sure if that is the case or not. And so therefore, he filed the inspection, or filed the abatement. Jordan sent out the letter to do the inspection. When I went out to do it, the interior and exterior inspection, I was denied. And part of the process is that we inspect both interior and exterior of the property. An abatement is essentially for a disproportionate amount of tax for the current tax year, and in this case, it was for 2025. And it involves everything, not just outbuildings, it's land, buildings, outbuildings, everything, and all property.
Wait a minute, the property isn't in the town of Lyme, why do you need to even see the inside? Who cares?
Because-
If the building is in Orford, we don't have a
No,
right to tax it.
No, his house is in Lyme.
But
And
if
so-
that's not what's in question, my question is, when you look at the difference between RSA, mine is, I don't even, this would be considered an abatement. I believe this is an acknowledgement of an error, and I don't think we had, if we didn't have the authority to tax a building in another town.
Well, he filed an abatement.
Right, well, I
Okay.
think, but RSA 85.7, the way I read it, I don't have to file an abatement. It just says.
I'm reading it right now.
I would say, for mine is, I don't know that it would be an abatement. I think it'd have to be someone who would come to us. And I get it, like, if someone files an abatement, this is the abatement procedure, and I love my procedures. Gotta have it. But mine is, have a procedure that everyone can follow, that's great. But mine is, I think an error, bank error made in our favor, and I think that he's due for a
But we-
refund.
No, I don't think that, wait a minute.
But I
That is
mean,
not-
but correct me if I'm wrong.
That's not the question. I don't think that anybody sitting at this table is thinking for 1 minute that these people, the cooks, shouldn't get their refund or money back.
Yeah.
It's the idea of a process. We talk about processes, Michael.
I
And if somebody comes into our office and says, there's this shed, you know, and it's assessed for $2,000 on my tax card, can you take it off, it's gone? We say, sure, but you need to have a visit from the assessor. They need to physically go and see that this shed is gone. Not that we don't trust people, but we
Well,
don't add
we-
anything.
You
We
take
don't-
something away, we
don't-
build
we
a building, you
don't-
never go
Can I
inspect it.
finish? We
Right,
don't.
but Brendan could have
But
come
that's
out,
different.
Oh, okay.
I think Brendan could have come out and made sure the building hadn't moved in 37 years. I mean, that would be easy to do.
It would have, well, never mind. I
Is
won't
the
go
building
there. I
in
think
Orford or Lyme?
I don't know, I haven't done the inspection.
Can you let him come look and confirm that the thing is in
Well,
Orford and
he's
not
been
Lyme?
taxing me in Orford, I've been paying 37 years in
No,
Orford.
we tax you. He does the assessments.
Right,
We
but I
tax
mean,
you.
in Orford, I've been paying, he's been assessing me in Orford.
Well, there's no way we're gonna make you pay the tax on property that isn't in the town of Lyme. But
Right.
if Brendan wants to come out and look and confirm that the building is in
Oh, yeah, he
Orford,
can come and look
if
at
you
it.
let him do that, then that'll take care of that.
When Brendan came, our understanding was that he was going to make sure the building was in Orford. But he wanted to come in and do a whole thing inside the house and in all the buildings. Why do you need to do that? All you
Because-
need to do
Because
is,
an abatement was filed, as I stated. An abatement was filed. I was there on behalf of the abatement,
I have a suggestion.
because that was what was done, correct? An abatement was filed.
Well, I was
Well,
asked
hold
to
on,
file
hold
an
on.
abatement,
You
yeah.
filed an abatement
Right,
for a refund of last year's 2025 taxes, correct?
right, because I was
Okay.
told I had to do
Oh,
that, yeah,
If you wanted 2025's taxes back, correct?
right, but I wanted
So
all of it.
because of that, it triggers us to do our inspections.
Okay, can we bypass that? Can you just confirm, can you go out and visit the property and confirm that
Then is he-
that property is not in the town of Lyme? and then we'll just refund it because the taxes were collected in error.
So is that how we're gonna treat every abatement in town?
No, this isn't an abatement, this is an error. We made an error, we didn't, this isn't someone saying
If
you
you're
got
giving
the.
cash back,
It-
it's an
It
abatement.
is an abatement.
For the
It is an
2025 year,
abatement.
But-
legally.
And we couldn't even give him back the year before that?
I'm
Would that-
talking about 2025. If it was there in 23 and 24, that's not part of an abatement.
What would that be?
That would be a special exception that you guys could just
Why don't
decide
we
to
just do
do.
a special exception
So-
for the whole thing if the property is not in the town of Lyme? Why don't we just refund
Because
it
I
for
shouldn't
$2,000?
have filed an abatement, it'd be better if I hadn't filed.
I'm
an abatement.
sorry.
Can I
this is
make a
ridiculous.
suggestion? Let's ask the cooks to take back, give back, whatever, go do away with their abatement request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
Withdraw.
Brendan, pardon me,
Withdraw the.
thank you, do away, withdraw, whatever word you
Withdraw,
choose.
yeah.
I'm a little flustered, so I'm not thinking
Sorry,
of
I've got
my
the inner
proper
lawyer
English.
in there.
Thank you, I know, you always do. Have Brendan go and visit the property to see where the building is, to follow our
Do you need to do
process
that, or
that
can you
way.
confirm that it's in
Yeah.
Orford?
I need to measure all of the buildings.
Yes, and he really
Is
would
that
be.
okay with you
But
guys?
inside and out?
No.
Why do they have to measure all
You
the
said
buildings
measure,
inside
right?
and
Nope,
out?
yep, just,
He
I need
just
to
needs to
measure.
measure outside.
You mean
Okay,
the
outside
is
dimensions of
fine.
the building.
All of the
All
buildings
of
that
the
are in
buildings.
line, so that we can make sure the card is correct. Then after he does
Yeah.
that, we can figure out what the back taxes are. Now, is there an RSA that says that if they don't have an abatement, the select
I'd
board
have to go.
cannot give the 25
I'd have to go look.
amount back?
I'd have to go look.
So we better look, and so if we
Yep.
check that and it says
Yep.
it's okay, then you can, you know, move forward with that. We can't go breaking all these rules just for, I know, I get it, it's frustrating, but,
Well, yeah, I still think that RSA 85.7 says I don't really need
We'll
to
look at
file an
that.
abatement, yeah.
we will look at that, definitely.
We'll get
Okay.
this resolved. Let him come out and check where the.
Yeah, you can come
confirm
out
the-
and measure the building, yeah, you can come out and measure the buildings and, yeah.
Excellent,
Whatever, and if it's, you have to file the abatement, I'll check with the DRA.
yeah,
If we have to file it, if the abatement stays and you have to do it in order to get previously or to get 2025, I will need to do an interior and exterior inspection.
right.
If we just granted the refund, who would be able to object and sue us? Who would be upset about it?
You all
The
right?
DRA
DRA.
might
They're gonna
be
come
quite,
out
might be
and-
quite upset.
And hassle the town of
And
Lyme?
You might,
they
you might get fines, you might get, yeah,
Well, look, if we collected the taxes in error, I don't care if they're upset with us,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
just
it's-
wrong.
It is ridiculous, I mean.
I think everybody feels that way.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
like
I don't
said,
disagree.
They
I'm
should
following
get
the
their money back,
process.
but let's do the right
But,
process.
come on,
can't-
if the property is not in the town of Lyme, having to inspect all the
But he,
interior and
but
exterior.
he didn't, he
That's-
filed
I
for his
understand.
entire property.
That's the
I can-
abatement, that's the
Right here.
abatement.
You can include
Right here.
that.
Hold
I
on.
understand that that's the rule, and I understand why it's
That's-
in here, but.
It's case
but
law, so I'm just following.
I-
If
I'm
we
not-
let,
it's not a
if we
personal
let one,
criticism.
if we let one abatement be treated one way, then what are we
Everybody
doing?
does.
Everyone has to
And
be
then all of a
treated
sudden
differently.
we're
We're
in
doing it differently for
Big
everybody.
trouble. That's right.
So
All right,
if you
let's-
blanket,
let-
have the
hold
same
on,
process.
You're gonna go out and measure the buildings.
You're gonna measure the buildings on the
determine
outside.
Where the
that's it.
building is,
He's not gonna come inside.
and we'll deal with
We'll figure it out.
how we're gonna do the rest of it. And if it's, you know, if it has to be an abatement, or if we can do some other way of
Yeah.
repaying him, abatement's gonna require reassessment, it sounds like.
But this wasn't
And
ours.
we can't evade the process, because again, that
Right.
applies to everybody in town.
Right, well, everybody, the reval is this year, so somebody's gonna be going in it at some point
You're gonna get
anyways.
reval this year
So-
anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you can come out and measure the outside, not the inside. You can do the outside, but not the inside.
Well, I'm just making
Well,
a
he's gonna
statement
get the
that
inside
somebody's
when he
gonna
does the
come.
reval.
Somebody's gonna be coming this
Yeah.
year for the reval.
Yeah, we're
and they
hiring-
need to go in there.
Who are we hiring as a company that's doing it?
We have Avatar, yep.
Yeah, so that'll be somebody else probably. Yeah, not Brandon.
All right, so
Okay.
we have a resolution,
I guess so.
all right.
So we'll look that up and then get back to you guys, and then I imagine the action would happen at next meeting. Okay? Okay,
Okay.
Sorry, you know what, I mean, leaving aside all the procedure, I'm hugely sympathetic. It's obnoxious. If
Well, it
if
just
the
seems-
town made an error and charged you extra taxes and it's the town's error, and then to come to you and say, yeah, but to fix the error, well, you have to
I know.
jump through
Okay.
47 different hoops,
All right.
that's
Let's be fair.
unfortunate.
Yeah,
We've got to move on. We'll be
Okay.
here all afternoon, and I'm opposed to that.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, Brendan.
We have a new fire truck to approve. Review and approve.
Due to errors.
Let's be respectful. I'm saying that in general.
Yeah, mine is,
Well, I think you were saying that disrespectful to Brendan. There you go.
who? Me?
No. Let's go.
Can you use Volkswagen?
The library's coming at 11.
Yeah, so,
Oh, we're gonna have to wait.
We
Okay,
got
truck,
15 minutes.
no, we don't, we got a lot of other stuff, so as quick as possible.
So you all have the fire truck thing,
Yep.
and you all have the warranty info, which
How come the
was difficult.
invoice from Springfield GMC doesn't list what it is we're buying?
I sent all the information beyond that.
It, what, you're buying?
Yeah, it just
You're
has
doing
a,
GMC,
Nope.
Sierra 350, HD, crew cab pickup, Summit White. It has the VIN number and the year. You have the wrong,
No, mine is, it says, mine is, it says vehicle, it's all blank.
yeah.
Town of Lyme. Well, what the hell? I don't know. Here, pass that around.
There's no way I'm gonna say no to Aaron to getting a new
No,
truck.
we're not saying-
But
mine
when you
is
send us a
delivered
thing
by
that doesn't have
blank.
anything on it, I
I
feel like.
sent you everything.
Oh, yeah.
I
No, no,
sent
that's-
you,
Just so you can see.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
see.
got.
let me see that.
Fire
I
engine
sent you via email exactly.
No, that's why I
No, no,
read
no.
it.
If you didn't look at your email, then
Wait, mine is-
I don't know
but
what
No,
to
that's-
no,
tell
no,
you.
Dina, something went wrong here because the document we got has nothing on it other than the prices.
There's your window sticker.
And here's your warranty stuff, though.
Yeah, no,
That's
that,
important.
there we go. So,
Okay, I'll move we approve this.
Is the warranty adequate for,
5-year, 100,000 on the powertrain.
we've been running 7 years on the highway trucks.
Yeah, if you wanna extend the warranty, that's fine, but I think if we had 100 years, we've held that thing for probably
You're not gonna-
23 years.
You're not gonna use yours enough.
I just don't think we're gonna get, I would bet if we hit between 3,000 and 5,000 miles a year,
All right.
we've used it more than I expect.
yeah,
I would anticipate somewhere around 2,000 miles a year.
Yeah,
mine is-
we have the police vehicles, they're running all the time, even
Yeah.
though they don't put any miles on.
This will run a lot more than our existing rescue because it actually has more capability that puts it more in line with, we can take care of some calls that we don't necessarily need to drive a $700,000 engine up.
and there's no carbon monoxide.
No.
So I have a motion on this,
Yeah, I'll move we approve this.
Second.
all those in favor?
Is it aye?
Then aye.
And while he's here, please do not leave without doing this.
No, you gotta fill this out.
For the, well, I want them to approve this.
Oh, that's the topper, that,
Yes.
we got the data, that I could
No,
tell.
mine is at the top, yeah, 100%.
Well,
And-
it's over 5,000, so you have to approve
Yeah.
it.
I'll move that we approve the topper for the new truck.
And I'll second the topper for the new
All
truck.
those in favor?
Michael.
Then aye.
So I need this filled out, I sent this along too, I think Dina has the copy, which is just basically they build this at a factory about 100 feet over the Canadian border. And they have an office on the New Hampshire side and the Canadian side, but because of that, there has to be this form that just basically says, hey, this is coming into the US to our location. So, I just need this filled out, this was sent, so I assume whoever wants to sign for that, and I need to figure out who's gonna sign for the truck today.
I believe Dina has already said that,
You're just signing, as long as it's a document, it is accepting the truck.
Okay,
If you sign, if it's anything else, then it has to be signed by the chair of the board with these guys' permission. So
What do you do with that?
I just got that.
I move that
From
we
the
give
attorney.
the chair of the select board the authorization to sign for it.
Second on?
If-
All those in favor? Ben, aye.
David, I.
So
What
yes,
time works
Aaron,
for
it's
Ben?
fine for you.
Huh?
What time works for Ben?
It's fine for you to sign when they bring it. But if there's anything else they're asking you to sign, then that has to be Ben.
I'll just sign it then, and you'll, if
Yep.
Ben has to countersign it later, so be it. I'm not gonna play the game back
It's
and
not
forth.
ready right now?
No, it'll come with the vehicle, I
Yeah,
think.
call.
All right.
So I'll get it coming. Okey-doke.
And then
Thank you.
Thank you.
any other things that we have that are coming that are gonna be 5,000 or above?
We're gonna break it up into smaller orders, so we don't have to deal with this.
The top, okay, you know,
Mine is,
No, I mean,
do
honestly,
it, no,
it's-
so my thing
today.
is do it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that way we don't have to come for each one of these things, the orders, they won't be this big. The lighting package is gonna be under, the radio package will be under, so it won't hit $5,000 thresholds. So we can get it done.
Okay, what do we have?
What's that?
Don't unnaturally break things up in order to evade the
No,
select
no,
board
we're-
oversight.
it's,
But
we are not
if
gonna
it-
have
if it comes out that they're smaller amounts, then that's
That's
fine.
gonna be fine. We're not gonna have it go through OSSP likely because of the time frame in which it will be sitting over there. We'd rather have it in service during forest fire season to pull the trailer. So to do that, we're gonna go through a local vendor to do the installs. So,
Like, I get that you maybe sometimes feel a little frustration with the select board.
I just
But,
need to
you
know the
that's what
process.
we're supposed to do, we're supposed to
Yeah.
look over this stuff and make sure it's right, and,
Just recently, Dina, yes.
and because we're volunteers and
Yeah.
we're not here every day, and it, you know,
Totally get
that takes a little time, so
Yep.
it's not that we ever wanna say no to you, but we also feel like, you know, we're elected to do this, and we're supposed to do our job diligently, and so.
Perfectly fine. I have the direction on the 5,000. If it goes over that, we will bring it in. Away we go.
All right,
So,
Thank you.
yes.
Scott's up next with a new maintenance truck.
what?
Scotty, what's going on?
I really don't need that, but.
In case you get quizzed. He's seeking permission to order the truck, not purchase it or.
How come the fire department's buying a GM and the road crew's buying a Ford?
We don't want that discussion.
Are you guys gonna have those bumper stickers with the peeing on the logo thing on there?
Yeah, I think we should make him buy a Dodge, right?
Dodge with more money.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we gotta approve Scott's truck.
Well, you gotta, yeah.
Ben, did you
ask
look
the
over
order
this, you
questions.
comfortable with it?
Yeah, no, I'm comfortable with this. Scott knows what he's doing, and he has a 7-year, 100,000 mile warranty on it. And that's because his truck gets used. He'll explain he's had situations where he's had $12,000 repairs in that time.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Michael, aye.
David, aye.
Ben, aye.
What about the plow and the
Right,
sander?
they're either, are you approving the plow and the sander at the same time, or that's an
Yes.
additional 20?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the Ford 550.
350.
We went with that.
Okay, and so I'm just gonna add the truck and everything.
Yeah.
Okay,
100,000 mile,
Wow.
4,000 hour,
yeah.
4,000 hour. Damn, that's, yeah, good.
You can't beat it. I mean,
Well,
Good deal.
for almost $7,000.
yeah, and for the
I mean,
7
we
grand,
put-
yeah,
We put like 12 in the truck alone.
Yeah. yeah,
Yeah, some of it probably wouldn't have covered, but
right. I mean, previous fire department trucks, we had things towed back down to Patsy's like 3 times in the first 3 weeks.
All right, let's move on and get some of the quick things done.
So,
All right, thank
order-
you.
Thank you.
Yep. The minutes,
Thank you, Scotty.
somebody wanna move the minutes?
I'll move them.
I'll second them.
All those in favor?
Michael, aye.
Yeah, and you got my comments last night,
Yep.
but, you know, I'm sorry they came so late, I had a.
Yeah, I sent them to, yep, these guys.
Manifest, anybody wanna move it?
I'll move the manifest.
I'll second the manifest.
All those in favor?
Human eye.
Michael, aye.
No questions, I guess, okay, good. Here. Ooh, wow, thank you.
For the electric one?
I have to sign it.
Signed tan documents.
So Dina, can we get the amount of the manifest?
Sure. The total manifest is $127,245.66.
No school.
No.
We have to vote the tan.
You've already voted to do it, you should probably vote to sign it, yes.
All right, who wants to move the tan, signing the tan?
I'll move it.
Talk to me about the tan.
Yep,
What would you like to know, Michael?
Be fine.
Huh?
It's a taxpayer anticipation.
Tan, right, every year we get a tan.
So
This
Oh,
one
this is a DRA
This
thing
is for,
saying,
no, this is to cover us in between the time that we are short
This is a
funds
note, this
until
this
money
is
that
the
we
note,
borrow
okay, how we borrowed money.
Right here, is it, the
Mascoma.
Mascoma?
Yep.
So we have a note that allows us to draw down money
Yep,
in order to pay town expenses
before
in
the,
advance
in
of
advance of
getting
it,
the
yeah.
property tax.
Can I have one request regarding that? In the week after town meeting and then last week, this week, basically, the question of when do we pay, like in June or July, and when do we pay?
Oh, for the regular
For the,
taxes,
for
you're
the
talking.
meeting, to warrant article of the town meeting, where we're going to do 2 payments a year.
Right, that starts in 27,
Okay, mine is,
July.
if that was on the website, that explanation.
There is explanation on there, but
Okay,
we'll,
I'll put that on.
because we're gonna be switching, there's more information in it, there'll probably be a separate little, that people can go to, when they go to the homepage.
Yeah,
instead
something
of
that's right there
having
to
it-
grab their attention, so they don't have to navigate into departments, the minutes or something. Because, I mean, it's just,
Like I said, we'll be having stuff because of the revow coming up, and then because of the twice a year taxes.
that is a hot item of concern.
Did somebody second that motion? The tan?
Tan.
Michael did?
Yep.
Thank you. They haven't voted yet either, Ben, so. They haven't voted that motion, just so
Oh,
you
I
know.
thought they did.
David, I.
Michael, aye.
Then, you weren't listening.
Okay. Well, they voted it twice, thank you.
All right, we have library.
Ooh, you're right on time.
We
Maybe-
try.
May we approach the bench you're
We
on?
may.
Oh, we're excellent. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll remember next time. Everyone, this is Alex Borlaug, our board chair. Don't know if you know each other.
No, we haven't met yet, so this is a real pleasure.
Colin,
Michael Inslee.
Ben Gillum.
nice to meet you.
Tina Cuddy.
We met on
We
the
did.
basketball
David.
court, learning
right.
how to do the scoring.
The scoreboard.
Yeah, so thank you for that.
Scoreboard training, we love it.
During the holiday.
Basketball parent here, so.
Yeah. So we're here because it is time for our renewal of our memorandum of understanding. And Alex, in his excellent leadership of the board, has been introducing to the trustees every important document so that we can all discuss them and be sure that everybody's up to speed on them. And since the MOU was coming due, we thought we would have, get some input on that.
And unfortunately, I never got anything to
I,
send to give to them.
I emailed you yesterday
I did not
the
get it.
link to the minutes. Okay, well,
Sorry.
if you just go to the website, oh, well, here, you know what, I made
You
2
got a few
extra
copies?
copies, yeah.
And I've got heavily highlighted ones that I asked for back, but you're welcome to it.
All right,
Now.
these are the current memoranda,
Pass this around.
Sorry.
and,
There's a fresh copy.
yeah, when I got back from seeing you, I emailed you.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you know what, yeah, I have, this is ridiculous, but I have this new computer with a new mouse, and it doesn't always respond the way I think it's going to, so I wouldn't be surprised if
I
it's
get it, I get it.
Here are here's one copy of the draft minutes that have some of the suggestions, but I'm gonna hand it over to Alex.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, so, yeah, so, you know, I'm kind of a policy wonk, and I'm on the policies committee, and so I really enjoy kind of reviewing, on a kind of, you know, scheduled basis, all the things that are, you know, how we govern ourselves. And so the MOU between the library and the town of Lyme came up, and it came up kind of at a unique moment for many of us, for all of us on the board, as well as I imagine for the townspeople of Lyme, which is to say we just got through this sort of harrowing experience of having our boiler go kaput and having to replace the whole darn thing unexpectedly, right? And to scramble to thankfully, we had funds that could cover it, you know, kind of at a pinch, but scrambling to assemble as a board with Judy to make that recommendation and approval. So kind of with that experience sort of in the backs, actually at the forefronts of our minds, when we were reviewing the MOU, I think for many of us it raised some, just kind of a basic question around clarity. Because in the MOU, there's 2 paragraphs regarding how we kind of split our costs, right? And I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have it in front of me anymore, but, you know, essentially in terms of kind of regular maintenance and repairs and upkeep, oh, thank you. For the library building, we do look to the town for assistance with that. And then anything that's sort of more by choice, I suppose whether we paint the walls or get new carpet or expand the building or what have you, then we look to our own resources to fund that. And so many of us were left wondering, kind of in an extraordinary situation like the boiler dying unexpectedly, you know, what would be the proper thing to do in that case? You know, did we approach it correctly by digging into our own you know, our own resources to pay for it, or would it have been appropriate to approach the town with that ask?
It's a good question.
I don't know how you,
So I can give a little background just to, because I know that you haven't answered this question before. We haven't been in the position of needing to ask for quite some time because we had been carrying a positive balance in the form of a sort of a nest egg investments that then became CDs after 2008, that were left over from the fundraising for the 1982 edition. They lasted the library a really long time until they hired me. And then I started spending, you know, we replaced the carpeting that hadn't been replaced in 40 years and that sort of
Away
thing.
that nice orange carpet.
Right, I know, it's coming back in fashion now, I went in trouble, should have left it. But because of a series of things, we have been gradually spending that down. And we get the trustees of the trust funds, we have the one investment there that the trustees of the trust funds manage, that this year came in at about $3,000, but we immediately put that toward, it usually helps cover, you know, various maintenance costs throughout the year, but that immediately went toward the 13,000 plus bill for the boiler. So it hasn't been something that we've had to necessarily address in the past, and we've always had this sort of understanding that, you know, with the unique situation with RSA 202A, that the trustees are the fiscal agents of the library and responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of the building. However, in the event of an emergency, what is our standing in terms of the town's emergency building fund in an extenuating circumstance?
I need to look that up. I need to look up what the original warrant article specifically said, what RSA came under, so.
Like if they had come to us and said, hey, we need $10,000 to fix Humpty Hump.
Yeah, but we
Do
have to have.
we don't have the money just sitting around waiting for?
No,
It'll
but
either
if
be
you
on the
have,
budget or
but,
on a-
no, but if you have a capital reserve fund that is and legally available to be used on the library building,
Yeah, then
then
we
they
could
could,
have drawn from
then you
that.
could have drawn from that, correct?
But we don't know,
I
as we
need
sit
to-
here, whether we do have a capital
Correct.
reserve fund that covers the
Right.
library.
People-
Am I
people
wrong
might
that there's
think
an
it makes
emergency
sense.
building fund? I thought that there was, other than the capital reserve fund, I thought
There's
there was
the-
something called an emergency building fund or something.
No, that's what it is. It's
Okay,
a,
it's the
that's
same-
it.
same
It's the
fund.
town building, major
Okay.
maintenance and repair.
So the only question is, does that extend to library repairs?
Right, only because the library, it is a town library, but it's a unique situation because it falls under a specific RSA that the trustees are responsible for the maintenance of the building and blah, blah, blah. And they, you know, generally pay for those things.
Right, and we have been, you know, we're talking about some fundraising to try to replenish that fund. And also we're embarking on a project to replace the back doors, the way back doors that used to be the town offices, entryway, because they failed. And so I just had a notification that I got a grant for $10,000 from the American Library Association, and I'm hoping to have the Lyme Foundation match that, but we're still looking to raise another $10,000 after that for this project. We wanna also hook it up to an automatic opener, because it's for accessibility. And so, yeah, we're working on it, but.
A legal question, is the library a separate legal entity? Like if someone wants to make a tax
Yes.
deductible contribution, they make it to the library, not to the
Yes.
town of Lyme?
Yes.
Yeah, we're in a, not unique, but an unusual position in the state in that we do have an EIN, we do have a sort of a
So
foundation.
you guys file a 990 every year? and-
We don't have to, we have a special designation,
exempt,
we're a
yeah.
sound, I can send you all the information, but because we are, part of this municipality, it puts us in a special category, that Eric Saunders figured out years ago.
Right.
And we have that renewed and checked on every year, and it's all above board, but that, we're not exactly a 501c3, we're like a 501d4 or something. But, so we don't have to file a 990, but we are allowed to, and people can only deduct 50% of their donations to the library because of that.
Okay, so if someone was using like a Fidelity charitable fund or something like
Right.
that, that won't work?
It would work, because I've worked with Fidelity for hours trying to convince them of our status, but yes, we get those sorts of donations a lot, yeah.
But, so, when the select board, we leased the space and paid rent to library trustees. And when we had to make improvements to the system for air quality,
We paid for it, library paid for it.
for the
For the building.
hazard, no,
Yeah.
for the radon mitigation?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, we,
yeah.
I
And
remember that
we,
differently, but
it
yeah.
was kind of a barter. We rented for $1 or whatever it was. And, you know, they treated us like renters and would fix things if they were wrong in the
Right, right.
building.
Mhm.
But we started doing their books, we
Right.
did the bookwork, I do all their bills, we do their payroll. So it's sort of a, it was like a trade, plus it didn't make sense for them to hire a bookkeeper and/or a payroll service.
Bill, do you have something?
Yeah, I'm chair of the trust funds, and I want to speak with that hat. I don't know legally, given all of those trust funds, which are allowed to spend what for what. And this is part of what happened at the school district meeting, when we had that whole issue of the ability to pay from the school maintenance fund. And I would like to make a request.
I can answer your question, Phil. So when Mr. Dimick, I think it was Charlie, it's a Dimick fund that was set up back in the 1950s or 60s. I have the original wording, and it says that we can only take the dividends. We were not, when Simon Carr was on the trustees of the trust funds, I asked if we could dip into that in case of an emergency, and he also did some research and said no.
You're
I think
asking
Phil's
a more
talking in
general
general.
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is if we in the trust funds could see the documents that tell us what it is that we're allowed to do
believe you will find those documents in your plastic crate that you guys have. I
Maybe you
suspect,
can-
now,
Maybe you can give me a hand.
I wasn't in charge of that, Marty was, but and then Simon, but I'm assuming that they have a copy of every single warrant article that was voted to start each fund.
So maybe
That's
you
where
and I
this,
could work
that's where
together
this list came
find
from,
those.
that goes in here every year. The problem with this year at the school meeting was it just hadn't been updated from when it changed from the original vote.
Dina, can you answer her question, and so we can come back
Which question?
next meeting?
Yes.
How do we,
Yes,
Yeah.
Can I just
to look at the RSA's. to
Just
see.
pause for a second, so I have this memorandum of understanding, it looks like it's unsigned, so it's a draft. What is it that you guys are asking? You're asking us to review this and get back to you with comments and then formalize it and execute it, is that the,
So
and who drafted this?
It's an old document that was drafted in 1982 probably, when the town offices were part of the library. And we set up this, what
Right.
Dina just described with payroll and everything. So we usually sign it once a year or 2 years. We go
Every
back and
couple of
forth.
years,
It's
yeah.
every 2 years. And it usually gets signed in the fall. Last fall, Dina and I discussed moving it to the spring because the fall is so busy with budget stuff. So it's been hanging out unsigned for, 6 months. The school, we have one with the school too, and that was unsigned for like 7 years, so. But we'd like to get it up to date, and it just gave us the opportunity to look at it and see if there was anything else in there that needed clarification on either of our parts. And I'm sorry, I just assumed that you all had copy of it.
So this is an old
It's the
version.
same one that we signed in
And
2024.
do you guys have any updates or changes that you wanna make to this, or?
That's what I would have sent you, but I didn't get the email.
Oh,
So
so,
I'm gonna send that to you, and then you guys can.
okay, and then we can look at it, and maybe also, given that this is a legal agreement, we should probably run it by Laura or somebody
It
too.
would have been run by her years ago, but it's probably should be done
Laws
again.
change, yeah.
And if some changes are offered,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then we'll do that,
Well,
yes.
So there's a discrepancy in the language, between what's in the language and what we experienced, right? In the sense of, we had this large-scale repair that came up suddenly, and it begged the question for us, can we appeal to the
Right.
town for that? So that's why we're here today, to
Right.
kind of talk that through, and if we have to, go away and meet again later on, great. But having that clarity, articulated in the document, I think would serve us well moving
Yeah.
forward. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot as a board with Judy's leadership is, how do we set ourselves up financially for success far into the future? And, we had this capital, fund that we could draw on, as Judy said, that's, going away
I
now.
should raise an endowment.
So, right, so
Well, yeah,
what
I
is
mean-
the picture moving forward, and what can we look to, for example, from town or from townsfolk or from other sources, and craft a strategy to build our way into a financially stable future? So this is kind of one step on that path, right, just getting clarity on what our relationship and meaning the library's relationship is with the rest of the town.
And, yeah.
Getting that info
Mhm.
about the warrant article is important,
Yeah.
and then it can be
You mean the
incorporated
original
in
warrant
there.
article for the establishment of the library?
No,
Or
for
you
the
mean
capital reserve fund.
For the capital.
That's-
reserve? Yeah,
that's the
I
one.
I think I have a scan of it on my computer. If not, I'll do that when I get back.
I'm
Are we-
sure I do.
Are we legally allowed to expend tax dollars
Right.
on a non-town owned?
Well, that's the
Anything.
question, and it always comes into this unclear gray area, because it is a town building, but it's
So-
overseen by the
town-owned
trustees.
building?
I don't have it.
It's on,
I don't think I do have it.
it's on our insurance policy, so we can have some things, but then there's this
Yeah.
monetary thing for the maintenance of the building, but I think it's gonna take some research on this
I
back
think
So
stuff.
my take
before.
on this is that we need to do three things. We need to review and comment on the agreement, all three of us.
The existing one?
With the existing one, and just see if there's something that strikes any of us as wrong or that we need to discuss or talk about. We need to get current legal analysis from Laura or somebody at Mitchell Municipal. And then we need to get some sort of analysis from Phil or somebody about what our legal ability is to expend capital reserve funds and from which funds
That
the
will
event.
come from the DRA.
Yeah, and,
Right.
yeah, so,
And then we can redo this or make
Yes.
any
Yeah.
changes, and
I-
I'm happy to.
which I think is a great idea, I'm all for both sides, so to speak, looking at it. All I wanna say is that, you know, I think we have the basic understanding that the select board's responsibility lies within our budget allocation, and that's what we primarily communicate about, and that's where we look to you for support and to the town for support. And when you read RSA 202A, which is the RSA that defines public libraries in the state, you'll see how that's broken out and what the special responsibilities of the trustees are. So for me, it's not so much about our, you know, our financial state moving forward with you, because it's very defined with the town. What we wanna do outside of that is something that we are discussing. But the emergency question is what comes up for me.
Right.
And us, even if it was a loan, you know, or something, if we didn't have, because we basically, you know, had just enough money to pay for it. And now we're working on replenishing.
It's the case, isn't it, that in the event of a town-wide emergency, that the library is one of the resources that the town can use to
We're not,
keep people
I don't know,
warm
Mike,
and-
has that changed? Because it used to be that the school was the warming
School-
center.
the
and
school's
Is
warming
it
center.
still? Because I thought that John had changed that. Yeah, we sort of are on the second line of like, we don't have a generator. So, but if we are able to be open, then we can be a warming or cooling place. We have, you know, excellent Wi-Fi and that sort of thing if there's power. So we're not officially a center, but we're kind of,
I
you know,
thought,
plan
I was
B.
on the energy committee last year, and I
Yeah.
remember when we were putting in the heat pumps and
Yeah.
other improvements, that
Yeah.
the energy committee raised private money
Yes.
to fund. I thought that there was some thought that,
We could then become, yeah, we'd have to have a generator, I think, in order to.
I think, you know what,
say,
you know when that came up,
generator.
is we were talking about maybe installing a battery, like a Tesla Powerwall or something.
Yeah, we did, and I actually put the kibosh on that, yeah.
Okay.
I have a real problem with lithium.
Oh, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
blame you.
and, so,
Once that stuff starts burning, you can't put it out.
Yeah, yeah, and the way it's mined right now is not terribly ethical either, so I did say no to that. But, you know, we always are, you know, Mike knows that we're always there at the ready for providing whatever we can in the event of an emergency, so.
So I
Have you guys thought about putting in a generator?
You know, we've had all these HVAC issues for so long, and now we feel like, we feel rich now to have both the solar panels and the heat pumps. And that's a huge step forward, so, you know, that would definitely be a next step.
That's the
Alright,
cool thing about battery, is that
There's that.
it takes the solar and stores it for you, so.
I think we'll move on, you come back next meeting and we'll see what we have for answers.
This might take more than one.
I think this
Well,
might,
That's fun.
Judy and I will communicate back and forth, and I'll let her know when it's ready, and.
Yeah, and, yeah, as is stated in these, our minutes, it was clarified, we often talk about staff, the staff person will talk to the staff person. We've established long ago that the library director and the town manager, or town, I don't know what
She's the
your.
mayor.
Assistant,
The mayor.
yeah, and the mayor.
Stop it. Town administrator.
Town administrator, I knew I didn't have it right, are the main lines of
Right.
communication.
And that was done purposely, because the communication, it just coming from both of those places.
Yeah,
seemed
if they're
to
coming from 5 different
Make good,
places, it's
solid
not-
sense, and
yeah.
right, if you start getting 16 other people involved, it gets very confusing.
I understand that you're probably ready to finish. I would just request that if we do return next time, if we can have a conversation about something that we started to discuss last year, about being able to receive a lump sum, a small lump sum, quarterly, so that we can pay bills that we get that are only online, that we don't receive invoices for, that end up coming through my personal, you know, credit, and.
What have we been doing with that stuff? You just pay it and then we reimburse you and you're
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
pocket
yeah,
for a month or
and then,
whatever.
right, and it adds just
You
another.
get the miles then.
I get, yeah, it depends on what I use, but that definitely is true, yeah, it's, I'm often just thinking to the future and the next person who might not be able to do that kind of thing, yeah, so. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming
So,
in.
Alex,
very
nice
much.
to meet you again.
Nice meeting you.
Lovely to meet all of you, thank you.
Are you a Lyme resident?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where-
Don't I have to be?
Yes,
you do.
yes, he
I don't
does, yeah,
know.
yeah. He's an elected official, just like you
Yes.
are. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Trustees are all elected.
I garnered 247 votes or something like that.
All right, okay, legit.
But who's counting?
Yeah.
But yes.
I know, it's funny, like, when I was elected, there's people get more votes even though you're running unopposed. like,
Yeah, yeah. It's like
People don't
name
like you.
recognition.
Where do you live?
I live off of Tavern Lane in the Dwyer house. Do you know if you knew the Dwyers?
Sure, but I can,
So,
Well, nice
it's
meeting
not
you.
that way. Nice to meet you too.
yes.
All right, there's an appointments committee, we did that last week.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Appointments to committees and commissions, we did that last week.
Do we?
You appointed all these people? No, you didn't.
Oh, you got new people. All right, what do you got?
You have.
I'm not on the Heritage Commission, if that's on the.
No, it's not on there. Nobody's on that right now.
Oh, okay.
So I will just, I can tell you what it is. I mean, what they all are, and you can do them all at once if you want, or
You sent it
separately.
to us, didn't you?
I did send it to you.
So for the
Thank
Energy
you.
Committee, it's Jim Norris, Mark Bollinger, Richard Trefren,
Trefferin, yeah.
and Michael Novello. For the Rec Committee, it's Luke Prince. For the Road Agent is Scott Bailey. Conservation Committee is Blake Allison and Matt Stevens.
Correct.
I'll move that we approve all of the foregoing appointments.
I would say, do we, I'm not ready to second that. Mine is.
Well, if you wanna discuss it, you should second it, then you can discuss it. Or Ben can second it, either way.
I'll second it.
Good.
Any discussions?
Yeah, mine is, how many members are allowed on the rec commission if we have somebody who's had 4 months has had his application in?
That's a subject I could discuss with you in private. I will not talk about the person.
Okay.
If we're gonna talk about
I'm-
individual
Exactly.
Oh, no, but mine is-
capacity, we should do that in non-public.
That's correct, and that
We
has-
don't, that's.
I'm just, my wondering is,
Can I make a, let me answer your question. We have Luke Prince, who has been on it and wants to stay on it. We also have 2 alternate spots. We have one filled and one not.
okay,
But the commission is not ready to recommend anybody at this time.
They have to recommend it, and then it
Correct.
comes to us.
and as the one who seconded Luke's nomination to serve, and he has served for a long time, I have no problem, I just didn't win, I was surprised at this timeline. But I think,
You were
I'll
at our
defer.
last meeting.
I was, yeah,
You heard what he said, so without going into, big detail.
I think,
I can say there's a conflict of interest issue that some of the rec commission members have that needs to be dealt with, answered. I guess that's a good,
That, by the
good way to
commission,
put
has
it.
to do that.
That's about the commission, not you guys,
Not
that's
us.
right, and not me.
Yeah, but do you have any objection to any of the folks that are on here?
no, I don't have an objection to any of these, but I just think if somebody,
Yeah, but we
Good.
can do that.
no, that's fine, no, I get it, it's rec committee, I get that, no, I'm understanding.
All right, second, it's moved and seconded, and all those in favor?
David, aye?
Michael, I.
Then aye.
That's right.
Procedure for posting minutes.
Oh, God, you guys are really killing my blood pressure today.
You're gonna have to.
Wow, shaken. Well, I think the last minutes are a perfect example as to why we should not publicly post draft minutes. They get changed, and they can get changed at the last minute. And it can be something significantly that is not just a grammar change, it could be, a meaning change, a significant change. And that's out there with people all over the place. So, how we've always done it is, if somebody wants draft minutes after five days after the meeting, they can email Jordan or call Jordan and ask her for a copy. We can send it to that
Can I
person.
just ask you, stepping back a second, we're
Yeah.
just talking about the minutes for the select board, or are we talking more globally?
Well, I think that what you'll find is if you do it for one committee, every other commission or committee is gonna be asked for the same process.
Okay, but right now, what we're talking about is just the select board minutes?
That's all that I was right.
Procedure for
Okay.
meeting
on the
and
agenda.
posting.
Mhm.
Because if we were gonna set a policy for the whole town to follow, all the different
Yeah.
committees, you probably
Well, you
wanna
need
bring
to.
in people from those committees and get their
The
input.
commissions definitely, I mean, the commissions and the boards, they would need to review it themselves and vote on it,
Okay,
you know.
so we're
You
just
can
talking
tell
about the select
committees
board,
what
that
to
makes
do.
it easier. Okay,
Yes,
sorry
yes,
to
yes.
back up.
And then I sent you some info on best practice and most towns, what they do, which is not that. So,
I'm happy to continue with what you're doing, I think.
I brought this up because right now, we've got a couple members of the public that are writing quicker minutes.
You got a member of the public who's posting the whole damn thing on YouTube.
Yeah, and he's been doing that
Right.
right along, but even that's considered too slow, so. But just
You
remember,
certainly have
just a
access.
comment, with the public minutes, when you're writing them, you may be making errors as well. And we can't correct what you put on listserv. We don't have access to listserv.
And I have made very clear that what I am writing is a personal document and is in no way official, and will continue to do that for whatever I write.
No, we don't have, you know, you guys do what you do, because we don't have any say over what you do. But it's just that if you make an error and it comes back towards us, we can't respond, and that's just.
On the
so you-
listserv.
On the listserv.
they'd have to wait and address it at their meeting,
Understood?
so.
When I was on the school board, it was a particularly contentious COVID-related time. And the way the school board, and I assume they still do it the same way, within those 5 days, or I think we were in 72 hours, somebody could come into the office and look at the minutes, but no copies would be made. Because if you're gonna copy it, you might as well post it publicly, right? So I don't know, just to put that out there, like if you
I don't
release a
think
copy of
legally
the
you can do that,
draft.
I'd
I
have
don't
to
think
check.
you can do it
I don't
either.
think,
The
I
open
think
record law,
legally,
you can't let people look at stuff and not copy it.
legally,
Interesting.
okay, legally, within 5 days, you can have a copy of draft minutes given to you. They have to be stamped big
Mhm.
that they're draft. Within 72 hours, that's a non-public meeting.
Okay.
The
It
minutes
could
are
be
not.
like the RSA's for
Really?
municipal and
Yeah.
school,
Could be
they're not
different.
necessarily the same, but,
They
yeah.
can come in
The
together,
whole
Michael, and it
thing.
might say they moved into it and
Oh, yeah, okay.
discussed a reputation and moved out and what time it was. It wouldn't have any detail on it, though.
Well, I'm happy to continue doing what you've been doing, which is giving people a copy if they ask for it,
If
but
anybody,
otherwise
yeah.
we publish the official one when we get to it, which is usually 2 weeks, right?
Correct.
Because our meetings are.
Correct.
Do we want a motion on that?
You could have a motion on it
Let's have a
if you want
motion.
to.
I'll move that we continue the current policy of providing draft minutes upon request, but otherwise only publishing on the town website our actual final minutes once they've been reviewed and approved by the members of the select board. And that's gonna happen approximately every 2 weeks, subject to vacations and the usual.
And the recording gets posted at the same time.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Dave and I,
Michael, I.
And aye.
Was there anybody else who wanted to comment on that before we go?
I will say that I think it's a benefit to the town to get things out more quickly, even on an unofficial basis as sort of a news flash, and received a whole lot of feedback when I did that, thanking me for helping to make the board more transparent. So I think it serves a purpose, you know, and as a private citizen, I'll consider what I'm gonna do, but my purpose is to get, you know, we had 9 people at this meeting today, which is dramatically different from what we usually
I
have.
couldn't find a parking spot, thanks a lot, Phil.
And I think more interest is better. I think that this may drum up some interest.
All right, we gotta move on. Dorchester Road property follow-up.
So last week our last meeting under other business, we had a informal discussion about the property at 162 Dorchester Road and how we were going to
That's not
proceed.
right, the address is 116.
Well, pardon me, 116 Dorchester Road and how we were going to proceed. But that hadn't been noticed in the agenda, so we wanted to notice it and allow people to participate in that discussion if they wanted to. In addition to that, and since the last meeting, there's been a court ruling came down that granted the select board the ability to take photographs with a drone of the property. The select board's intention in doing that is to make a map of the property with the materials that are on it so that we can have a discussion with the property owner and they can, about what items will be removed by them, what items will be removed by the town, and if there's a dispute about any of that, then we can resolve that before we have a contractor out there. You know, it can be resolved. We can have the contractor go out one time and remove whatever they're gonna remove. All of the issues hopefully will be resolved before that happens. So that's where we stand now. I think to summarize the select board's preliminary discussions last week, our view was even though the town did not approve granting additional funds for the cleanup, that we still have about $125,000 in our, that has been voted and approved and allocated to cleaning up that property, and that the select board viewed it as our obligation to continue moving forward with that. So that's where we are tentatively.
Arthur, do you have a comment?
Well, it was my understanding that when the town appropriated that money, that if it wasn't used, it would be put back in the general fund. How did you get around that so that you were able to keep the money?
We still have a contract with the person.
So
cleaning up the property.
you've paid that 125 or whatever to the contractor?
He hasn't been paid anything, as long as the contract is there. Dina can explain it.
Yes, he has signed the contract for the cleanup. The amount of money is carried over by the select board vote to carry over to the next year.
But if it
which is
hasn't
the
been
legal
used,
way.
then how can that be?
Because.
That doesn't
because-
sound legal.
Because it's a warrant article. It's not part of your operating budget. If it was part of your operating budget, well, you could if you have a contract also, but it is.
Well, I think that many of the townspeople thought that it would go back into the general fund if it wasn't used.
If it's not all used, it will.
Well, I have to state again, there's an RSA, I think it's under the junkyard laws, which apparently now junkie yards are also considered junkyards, according to some research that I had just done recently. But be that as it may, there's an RSA that states that the town can only require cleanup of whatever can be seen from the road. And as far as I am concerned, a drone is going far beyond that. That's overreach. I still do not agree with it, and I think it's a very slippery slope. I am not happy about this being in the public minutes. I think it should have been all along in the private minutes or the non-public minutes. Our reputations have been damaged so badly, and none of you seem to care. I think it's very irresponsible, and beyond that, it's just unkind and downright mean. But that's my personal feeling. We can't do much about it now because you've set a precedent by making it all public. I still feel that using a drone is invasion of personal privacy, and it's trespassing. We'll see if the judge makes any different rulings. We have some options open to us. Maybe we'll appeal it. I'm not sure what our next step is, but I don't think this is, well, judging by what the town did as far as their vote at town meeting, I don't think a lot of other people think it's right either. I have to talk to some people and see how they feel about it, but I think that it was clear they don't want to give you any more money, to spend on legal fees, and, because you indicated that was mostly what you were gonna spend it on. And I think it's really time that you tried to work with us instead of constantly litigating us and taking us to court over every little thing and overstepping your bounds as selectmen, select board members, so that you're trampling on our constitutional rights.
Well, let me just speak, the court has spoken.
Yes, they have, but I'm saying we have options.
Yeah, and well, what I also wanted to say was if you said if your word was good and you were gonna clean that piece of property up.
And we're working on it. We spent a lot of time last year working on
My
it.
question is, would you agree to having certain parts of it done if it were broken up and mapped?
If it was broken up, well, it doesn't need to be. You can see it right from the road, what needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, but
And so if we
what
break
I'm
it up
talking
into
about
pieces that are manageable for us, we can do it. We did it at the Goose Pond Road property.
Yeah, but we're not talking about 10 years, we're talking about.
No, I'm not saying that. Most of what we did has been in the last 2 years at the Goose Pond Road property, because for quite a time before that, we thought it had been signed off on. We weren't aware that it was gonna be coming back. And part of that was because two private landowners in town re-brought that suit and tagged onto the town's, I think it was 2013 or 2015's order from the court. And so we had to address it again, but I'm not sure that was entirely legal for them to tag onto the town's thing, because it was personal interest that brought them to it. And so there's been some hinky goings on. And I also wanted to ask a question. At the town meeting, some gentleman, well, I'm not sure he's a gentleman, but some man stood up and asked about whether what has been spent so far would be made into a lien on the property. Who is that man that did that, and what is his interest? I am wondering if he is thinking that he's going to be able to pick my property up at a bargain basement price once I maybe can't make that lien payment. And in that case, it amounts to a land grab.
There's no
And I think it's
time-
illegal.
There's no time limit on the lien.
I'm just gonna suggest that it doesn't serve the town's interest to have a protracted legal debate with the property owner on this issue. We have a court order.
Are there other people who want to make public comment of any sort?
Right, I'm gonna move that we move forward with, oh, I do have a question for you, Dina. So now we have a court order that says that we can use a drone to take some pictures and generate a map of the property and what's on it. Do we need to put that out to bid, or is that something that we can just hire somebody to do? I have a friend who's a realtor in Hanover, Roger Clarkson, and he recommended a videographer that they use for filming, for taking pictures of properties when they're for sale. Can we just hire someone like that, or is something that needs to be?
Well, somebody needs to be they need to be licensed and have the proper
They have to be
stuff.
licensed by the
And we
FAA.
also have, there's
There are rules.
another person here too that we probably should, I don't know how expensive or what you're talking about, but.
I don't know either. I'm hoping that
is.
it's not very expensive.
I would request that it be put out for 3 bids, because if we're gonna end up paying for it, I'd like it to be the lowest price possible. If you're gonna put a lien on my property so that I have to pay for it, I'd like it to be the lowest price possible.
Flying a drone is not gonna be very expensive at
I
all.
don't think so.
It's the mapping part of it that might be
Yeah,
more
so-
expensive, but.
Who's doing the mapping, though? Is it the videographer? Is it somebody in the town? And if so, how are they licensed to do it?
To the person who was recommended to me, and just have an informal discussion and see if I can get some approximate prices and some
We
information
can
about.
do that to the other person too.
Yeah, do you have
That we
another person
already
to
used.
do that, and then if we have to put it out to bid, we can,
Yeah.
if that's required. If
Yeah.
not, we can just make a choice and hire
Right.
someone. It seems to me that now is a pretty good time to do this, and it'd be in our interest to move fast while the snow is melted and before there starts
The
to be
snow's
a lot
not
of
melted on my
greenery.
property yet.
Yeah.
And if we could get this done in the next 30 days, then we would have a chance maybe of meeting with the property owners and negotiating what's gonna be removed, what they're gonna remove, what we're gonna remove, and actually getting this done this year.
This season.
I still haven't had my question answered about who the man was that stood up in town meeting and asked about the lien.
We don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
It must have been in the meeting minutes.
I don't remember. Everybody who
Could you please
speaks at
find out
town-
for me? I'd like to
everybody-
know what his interest is,
I
because it
don't-
sounds suspicious to me.
I don't believe that everybody that speaks at town meeting gets their name
Really?
written down.
It was my impression that that was always done with meetings. Meeting minutes are supposed to be specific.
They're public, so you can ask
Yeah,
And,
I shall.
Emily for a copy and she can shoot you one.
And just to clarify, it is not, I think I can speak accurately for the board. For whatever it's worth, it's not our purpose or intention to tarnish your reputation or to cause you guys unnecessary
No, you just want to
pain.
grab my land.
We don't wanna grab your land. What we
Yeah.
wanna do is make sure
It's
that
working that way.
that the laws of the state of New Hampshire and that the town of Lyme are respected uniformly. And, you know, we spent 2 or 3 years working with you and in non-public trying to negotiate, getting you guys to clean it up, and that went nowhere, so.
That's not
we
true.
were
We did make
reluctantly-
progress at that
We're
time.
reluctantly moving forward, and
Oh, yes, reluctantly is not the word I'd use.
you can characterize it however you like. I just wanna say for myself, this is one of the more painful and unpleasant things I've had to do on the select board. I
And
don't-
how do you think we feel?
I'm sure you feel the same, but the reason this is happening is because your property is in the condition.
I am aware of that.
All right, we're gonna have to move on. The work with the town on your property predates my time on the select board. It's gone on for lots and lots of years. The number of complaints we get from the public continue.
Again, those are probably people that want to pick my property up at a
I don't-
bargain basement price.
They're just people that drive by and feel that it's unsightly. But there's a town zoning law and a state law that are being breached here, so we're gonna move on. It doesn't do any good for us to continue to debate the subject, and we'll move on to our next.
If I could just ask one quick question, are you guys considering engaging another council? Can you?
That's one option.
Okay. I think, at least from my perspective, having council involved on your behalf would be a benefit.
It would be nice, but we don't have a lot of money, and all of you are aware of that, as are the people that want to get my land.
They don't want your land, they want you to clean it up, thank you.
All right.
All right, non-public session. Do we have one?
Yes, you do.
What, A, B, C, D?
It's C.
C, reputation.
And you guys can sign those as you feel.